Looks like I didn't flip the camera, so it's gonna have to be this portrait view. The hardscapes are gonna be a little bit harder because since this tank is 6 inches, and as you can see, the rock itself is over 6 inches. It's gonna be a lot of thought that's gonna come into this when hardscaping this tank this small. I'm just draining it right now just so I can get the water out, and I'm not gonna spill the water everywhere when I put in the rocks. Usually in my other planted tanks, I usually do the basic Dutch scape, so I don't really use a lot of hardscape with either rock or driftwood. As you can see, I guess I settle on escape pretty fast in the first try. There's not really much you can do in this tank. It's very narrow at 6 inches, right? And the back will be for stem plants, and the rocks itself, at least the majority of rocks, I plan on attaching buse on it, different varieties of buse. For attaching the buse, I'm using some cyanoacrylate super glue, or the common term is super glue gel. The gel is very important because it is aquarium safe. I use it for both my freshwater, my shrimp breeding tanks, my fish breeding tanks, and my reef tanks to glue on coral. I buy this at my local dollar store. Um, because it's a dollar store item. The once you open it and you're done with it, you close it up. Next time you want to use it, it's probably hardened, so it's probably most likely one-time use. Sometimes you do get lucky and there's a little bit left, and you can squeeze some out for your next project that you're gonna use it on. As for the Buse species, I believe I use four. Buse brownie ghost, or at least it was sold to me as brownie ghost. I don't really think it's brownie ghost. Another one is Buse giant Catherine, which does grow quite big, so I'm not sure it's a good idea to put in such a small tank. Um, Buse wavy green, which is pretty nice, and my favorite of among all those four is purple Buse. It has a really nice iridescent blue purple color under the correct lighting. Now that the buse has been attached, and it actually took a while, probably at least 45 minutes to an hour, but with the magic of video editing, it went by fast. It's time to put it in the tank. The first one that I'm putting in is the Buse Brownie Ghost. I made sure that I harvested or I clipped off all the ones that are as small as possible, because the big ones are quite big, which I'm a little worried about, because once it starts growing, it might block the view of the stem plants that's going to be going in the back. The next one that's going in is the Buse Giant Catherine. This one grows a little bit more bigger and has more of a orangey red color. One of the rhizomes didn't stay on, so it fell off, so I'm gonna have to glue that back on later. Next will be a Buse wavy green, and last will be my favorite purple Buse. For the last three smaller rocks, I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do on them in the future. I do have other plants that can be attached to hardscape, but I don't want to because they are moss, and I'm not a big fan of moss in a hardscape due to the fact that they kind of like leave the original glued area and kind of get stuck somewhere else and grow from there. So you can have moss kind of like in places you don't want them to be. So I'm choosing just to leave them alone for now. I think this is a good hardscape, at least for a tank this size. It gives me some room, but not too much or too little room for stem plants in the back. So now I'm just filling up the water, and I'm just gonna leave it for a little bit and see what happens. I haven't even used any fresh dechlorinated water in this tank yet. All water I have used are old tank water from my many other tanks from the water changes. And the filter itself, I'm pretty sure I left the filter media in my 40-gallon breeder for at least 3 weeks, just to help the cycle go faster. So this tank should cycle relatively fast, maybe in a few days to under a week. I should be able to add livestock soon, just to test everything out. I'll probably be adding some snails first, and hopefully eventually I'll add some sort of species specific fish, and maybe some wild shrimp or something. As you can see, all the plants are looking fairly good, but this tank is 1 day old, or maybe 2-3 days old since I started. It's gonna take some time, just let all the debris settle and just see how it goes. Thanks for watching.